some things of actual import. Pax Americana is over.
And I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
Very deliberate language there. And we are mad about it. The United States says Canada will regret decision to allow Chinese EVs into their market. U.S. comments came in response to deal by Canadian PM Carney to allow 49,000 EVs into Canada at 15% tariff, down from 100%. Remember, China has been producing inexpensive, high-quality electric vehicles for years now, and the only reason we can't get them here in the United States and in many other countries is because Ford and so on have petitioned the president and Congress to keep them out. You know, tariff them enormously so that we don't have to compete with these superior vehicles. But it's breaking. It also means, by the way, that Americans could go up into Canada to buy these cars if they wanted to. I think they'll look back on this decision and surely regret it to bring Chinese cars into their market, said Sean Duffy on a Friday at an event with other government officials at a Ford factory in Ohio. To tout efforts to make vehicles more affordable. It's not working. It's not working. Wouldn't you have to pay import tax if you bring it home? My understanding is that the import tariff there applies through sale, but you would be fine to like own one and then bring it from Canada to America. Maybe you're right though. I know there are some types of tariffs that only apply if you intend to resell a good, but not if you just personally own and move them around. Maybe I'm misremembering. Well, either way, we're not happy about it, is the point. This is a better article? Canadian article. I see. Series of agreements aimed at boosting bilateral trade and investment, even if there's no resolution yet to the tariff dispute. Political environment changes, no tariff deal, lots of economic talks. The only thing that I know for sure about all of this is that we are not happy about it. By we, of course, I mean America's government. Canada has for a long time been, one of our closest trading partners, but right now, according to a chatter earlier this very stream, the Canadian people view America about the same way they do Russia, and more of them consider China a close ally than they do the United States, which makes complete sense, right? And this is good. America needs to be punished for their crimes internationally. You can't be threatening to invade Greenland and expect to stay on good terms with all of your former allies. I mean, hell, we threatened to invade Canada as well.
Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney is visiting Beijing this week for meetings with Xi Jinping and other Chinese leaders. It's a particularly important visit for several reasons. One, a Canadian Prime Minister has not visited China in 8 years. That's because Canada's relations with China have soured since 2018 over a range of issues. Carney hopes to begin putting that relationship back on track. The visit is also interesting because of U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs on both Canada and China.
This guy has a very, very measured speech, doesn't he?
Canada and China have reached a preliminary but landmark trade agreement.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney trumpeted a deal he struck with China at a banquet on Friday after he was welcomed by President Xi Jinping as Canada's first leader to visit Beijing since 2017. Carney is seeking to rebuild ties with his country's second-largest trading partner after the United States. Canada's previous Trudeau government had imposed 100% tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles, prompting a retaliation from Beijing. That led to a slump of some 10% in China's 2025 imports of Canadian goods. The two nations on Friday promised to tear down trade barriers while forging new strategic ties.
With our new strategic partnership.
According to Carney, Canada will cut its tariff on up to 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles.
It's a little face! Why does this car look so much like a face? Like an unhappy frog.
To 6.1%. Carney said he expects the deal to drive considerable Chinese investment into Canada's auto sector and increase local demand. Though it was slammed by Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, Canada's main auto manufacturing province. Ford complained on X that it gave China a Canadian foothold. But as part of the agreement, China will also lower tariffs on farm and food products. For example, on canola seed, a $4 billion market for Canada, according to Carney. He said China will cut the combined levels of canola seed tariffs from 84% to about 15% by March the 1st.
Keep in mind that it is only the complicity of Canada, Mexico, and the European Union that has allowed America to get away with what we're doing for so long. When America issued tariffs all over the world, they should have responded by lowering their trade barriers and forming a trade bloc without us. It would have been very easy to do. It still is easy to do. Well, it's not easy. It would actually be really tough to economically divest from the United States. But they could do it. The problem is, like, if they don't do it, they continue empowering the great Satan. They would make it a very, 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 like, it's how, what are you supposed to do about our aggressive actions towards Greenland, Denmark, Canada, Mexico, if you have, like, there are no trade options on the table? You have to. Sorry, USMCA. Yeah, but we're the one breaking that, man. You also forget other countries also have conflicts with each other. Yeah, but a lot of the countries that I just named are in the EU. I named Canada, Mexico, and the European Union. They can get along. They can find. I'm not asking China and you know, Japan to get along here, okay? But they did. They did in response to Trump's behavior, okay? I'm asking the European Union, Canada, and Mexico. What about the UK? It's not like they produce anything anyway.
Along with other tariffs being dropped, nearly $3 billion in export orders will be unlocked for Canadian farm and fish industries, Carney said. Beijing, meanwhile, is also keen to cooperate with a group of 7 nations in a traditional sphere of U.S. influence. Both China and Canada were hit with tariffs after U.S. President Donald Trump's return to the White House. Asked by reporters to compare ties with China and the U.S., Carney tried hard to be diplomatic, underlining Canada's deep ties to its neighbor.
But yes, in terms of the way that our relationship has progressed in recent months with China, it is more predictable, and you see results coming.
More predictable, or in other words, it's not dealing with the United States.
From that.
In a joint statement, Canada and China pledged to restart high-level economic and financial dialogue, as well as boost cooperation, trade, and investment.
Trump being unable to keep Canada in our orbit means the farmers in the U.S. will suffer more because we were hoping on the combined North American bloc. That makes sense. I know that we're suffering in a bunch of ways because we're still tariffing like Canadian lumber. Although, like, are we? I don't know. There are like a million. So many adjustments have been made to our original round of tariffs. I have no idea what we're on at this point, like what specifically.
Greenland, the future of Greenland is a decision for Greenland and for the Kingdom of Denmark. We are NATO partners with Denmark, and so our full partnership stands. Our obligations on Article 5, Article 2 of NATO stand, and we stand full square behind those.
Apparently, American soy farmers are white-knuckling over the fact that America didn't make a deal with China like Canada did. I wonder which politician those farmers probably voted for might have contributed to the political climate that would make it difficult for us to get a deal with China. I wonder if tariffing the entire world actually, in the long run, destabilizes the global economy and makes it difficult for nations to trust you in the future. Why the would any country ever trust us or trust like trade deals with us when we're so like transparently spiteful? Why? Pax Americana is over. Really though, if we can't keep Canada in our orbit, that is like, that's dire, you know? That's really, really, really bad. That's so bad.